So you can see there that our exception has been thrown, and if we refresh the table in our database, we can see there that it's written the log to the database. One of the great things about .NET is the ability to create a custom login provider. Creating a custom login provider is relatively easy in ASP.NET Core, as we can use the extension methods that are included in ILogger and ILoggerProvider. In this video, we'll show you how to write logs into a database with a custom login provider. Now, if you're not sure how ASP.NET Core login works, you can check out our video at youtube.com/roundthecode. If you're watching this video on YouTube, there is a link in the video description. For more ASP.NET Core tutorials, visit roundthecode.com and follow us on LinkedIn at roundthecode.com/LinkedIn. So we're integrating our custom database login provider into an ASP.NET Core Web API. And I'm just going to talk you through some of the code to actually create the custom login provider. So we're going to start off with the DB logger options, and what this is going to do is it's going to read the properties from the app settings into this class. So we've got our connection string here, that's the connection string where we'll log in to the database, fields that we wish to log, and which table we'll log into. If we look in the appsettings.json file, what we've done here is we've created a new database key, and within that we're setting our options. So we've got our connection string. We've also got an array of all the log fields we wish to output, and we're also outputting the log table. Now we've got our DB logger options here, and what this is doing is it's passing in a parameter of iOptions with the generic type of DB logger options. What this is going to do is it's going to read through the properties from the appsettings.json file and store it as a public read-only field. Then we're just going down here and we're creating a new logger instance, and we're going to call it DB logger. So we're creating a new instance. If we have a look at the DB logger, we can see that we're passing in the logger provider as a parameter, which we're storing as a private read-only field. Now if we go further down, we've got our log here, and what this is doing is that this is going to write the output, the actual log, to the database. So we're doing a check first to make sure that it's enabled. Assuming that it is enabled, it will go down here and it will go ahead and create a new connection string to our SQL Server database. If we look here, we can see it's getting the connection string from the appsettings.json file. It's going ahead, opening the connection, and then down here it's going through our log fields that we set in our appsettings.json file, and it's going through each one, and if it exists then it's building it up into a JSON object through this values property. Once that's been created, it will go ahead, create a new SQL command. It will create a SQL query to insert the values into the database. So the values.j object here, it's going ahead and it's doing some things like just taking out the white space, and then we're going ahead and inserting that into the database. We're also setting the time as to when the log has been written to the database. If we look at our DB logger extensions now, this is an extension where we're going to be adding it to dependency injection. So we're creating a singleton instance of our DB logger provider. And we're going to be using that in our program.cs, so this is in our ASP.NET Core Web API. Now we're using .NET 6 for this, so we haven't got a class or a namespace in here, so this is a new way of building up an ASP.NET Core Web API in a console application. We've got our login instance in here, and we're calling our add_dblogger extension method, and it's going through and it's binding the options to it. Now to test this out, we've got our weather forecast controller endpoint in our ASP.NET Core Web API. Down here, we're throwing an exception there of 123. So we're going to go ahead now, run the application to ensure that the exception is thrown. So you can see there that our exception has been thrown, so let's continue that. Make sure that we get a response. Let's see if it's been outputted to our database. So we can see there that our exception has been thrown to our database and it's written the log to it. So if we put this into a prettifier, JSON prettifier, we can see what is actually being stored in the database. So running that through our JSON prettifier, we can see some of the fields that we're catching. So we've got our log level here, so we can see that it's an error. We're capturing things like the thread ID and the event ID as well, the event name, the exception message, so that's the 1, 2, 3, and it's also calling the whole stack trace as well. So we can see the line numbers and where the exception is being handled. Now if you're running SQL Server 2017 or above, one of the things that you can do is you can query against JSON fields. So I've done that here, so we're going to be querying the log level and the thread ID, and we're getting it from the error.values. So that's this column, and then we're going to go ahead and we're also going to query the created. So if we execute that, we can see now that we can output that into a table. So that's how you go about creating a custom login provider to log to a database. We also have a similar video where we're logging to text files. You can check it out at youtube.com/roundthecode, or if you're watching on YouTube, there is a link in the video description. Well, thanks very much for watching, and hit a like on the video.